For you, our family, our congregation to get a little bit of this, to give back the gift that keeps giving that you received from Reverend Sheila in your own life. So we're going to open up the floor for a little bit. So if anybody would like to share. And if she starts taking up all of the time, somebody better say, "You taking up too much time."
My name's Margie, and what I remember about Reverend Sheila is, I'm sure all of you know about my experience with the flu shot where I almost died. I was in the classroom here. Reverend Sheila was the one that took me to the hospital. She packed up the whole class, and we had foundations in the emergency room. And I remember when they said for me to take off my clothes, Reverend Sheila was there. She was folding all my clothes. And I remember I didn't want to go. I said, I don't have any clothes or anything like that. She's like, "You don't need none of that." But she said, "You're going to be okay, but we have to find out what's going on." And she said, "You don't look right, baby." And she stayed there until they rolled me out into the my room. And through the whole process, she called me every day. And I just remember she kept telling me, "You're whole, perfect, and complete." And at the time, I didn't understand why I had to go through that experience, but I do now. And I always say, the person that went in the hospital died, and this is a new Margie, and it's because of Reverend Sheila.
Reverend Sheila was great to all of us, and she always told me that you're a divine manifestation of God's love, and nothing can change you.
Good morning, family. I will always remember meeting Reverend Sheila because, thanks to Jerry and Reggie, I was invited to a celebration at their home when Barack Obama was first elected. I was way in the back. I didn't see Reverend Sheila, but I heard her voice. She gave a prayer. The prayer moved me. And I asked someone who was nearby, "Who was that person?" And they told me who she was. And they told me about the Center of Peace. At the time, I was in the midst of caregiving with my mother, who was dealing with health challenges. I had an opportunity to speak to Reverend Sheila. I thanked her, and I told her that as soon as I was able to, that I would come to the Center of Peace. My mother made transition on December 22nd, the first Sunday in January I was here. I've been here ever since. I had an opportunity moving forward to go to Reverend Sheila's house to meet with her about some things that were on my mind and on my heart. We ended up having a girlfriend's afternoon. We talked about our travels and the things that we experienced. I saw her, in another light. She'd been this person who was always accessible, but as we talk about her being a way shower, and I think that many of us do this to other people, is that we put them in a place not where they want to be, but we decide that because they have these, what I felt was very special gifts. But I learned, and I had the opportunity that day to be with a girlfriend. I said to Nadir earlier today, and I say it all the time, that I feel that my experience here has made me a schizophrenic. I wasn't this way before. I thought I was cool. But now I talk about the authentic me, the me that I was, and the evolving me. And I thank the Center of Peace. I especially thank Reverend Sheila for opening my eyes to the opportunity to evolve. Thank you.
Thanks. So I have a trillion memories, but I just wanted to share Reverend Sheila, through her journey with cancer, she was afraid at times. So I need you guys to know that she's human and she has some human experiences around that. And because I'm a breast cancer survivor, we talked about some things that maybe she wouldn't talk to other people about. And I just feel like she was in a space where she was able to be vulnerable, because I had to say to Reverend Sheila over and over again, it's time for you to allow people to take care of you. That was a really hard message for her to hear. And ultimately, I guess she got it, but that was important because she was so used to giving. And we always talk about the law of reciprocity, giving and receiving. And so I told her, this is happening for you so that you can experience the love that everyone has for you. So I just wanted to share that.
So, I have known Reverend Sheila for a very long time. Met her through my sister, started coming to the Center of Peace in different locations. Reverend Sheila spent Christmas Eve at my home for at least the last 5 or so years. One of the, when you talk about her not just being Reverend Sheila, but just being Sheila, we play this game called the Yankee Swap. And you kind of sort of fight over $10 gifts. And the first year was she had never played it before, and my brother started telling her how you play the game. Well, Reverend Sheila became ruthless. I mean, she would tell other people that were playing the game, go take it, you want it, just take it. And she loved it, and she would just laugh and laugh and laugh through the whole time. But the number one thing that warms my heart, I was going through a transition, and I had the best practitioner that one could have. I met with Reverend Sheila every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, which was supposed to be an hour. And at some point, we would both say, it's been 2-3 hours. But she helped me so much through the transition and helped me to learn that I am perfect, whole, and complete. And as I tried to embrace Center of Peace, I never forget the times that she would say to me, take your time till you know what's right for you, which is why I walk in these doors almost every Sunday. And it's because of Reverend Sheila and all the love that I feel here. And what's really interesting, the whole transition that I was going through, which has taken about 6 years, day before yesterday, I made the last milestone to my transition. And I thank Reverend Sheila for that.
Good afternoon, Center of Peace. I'd just like to give you 2 stories real fast about Reverend Sheila. When I first came here, when I met her, I was just blown away by this woman when I first met her. And I was like, because I've heard a CD from her, and it was like something that I was going through in my life, and it touched me. So when I came to the Center of Peace and I met her, and she's like this tall. And I'm like she's shorter than Nia. So I was like, wow. And when I met her, she just gave me all of this love. So it was kind of hard when she passed. I couldn't come here for like almost a whole month because I was really feeling it. But one thing that like really got to me was when she made her transition and we had the service, and I went into my son's room. You all know my sons, Jordan and Justin. And her picture is on their light switch in their room. So I was like, who did this? And they said, we did. And I was like, why did y'all do that? And they said, so every night when we go to sleep and we turn out the light, the last person we see is Reverend Sheila. And when we get up in the morning, the first person we see when we turn on our light is Reverend Sheila. And I was like, wow. So I let you know how much she touched people, even the little ones. Because when they first came here, they were real little. And now they're like this. So I just wanted to let you know that and how much that she meant to me. Thank you.
Oh, gray car, a Nissan Rogue. You have your flashes on.
Good morning. I am a guest here. Janet has invited me this morning. I'm here, I'm visiting with her from Los Angeles, California. And I just want you all to know, obviously she really hasn't transitioned. I don't even know her, but I know her. I walked in the door and felt this immense love. You all have really been blessed to have had her for these years. So what you do with that for her is what's really important right now. So I just want to thank you for really showing up for her this morning. For me as a guest, I'm so moved. I can feel her love, and I don't even know her. So what you do with that love is you continue to spread it and be who you are, and then you'll be doing what she's taught. So just thank you. I just thank you. Thank you, Janet, so much. This was such a gift for me. This is the highlight of my trip here. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. So I was struggling with how do I talk? I want to go back to 1997, to the Festival of New Beginnings. And I met Sheila. And That was my new beginning, because that was when I came here after going to Agape in '96, and I kept saying, where is this on the East Coast? Because I told my mother, oh, I finally found a church home. She said, oh, baby, thank you. Who is it? Reverend who? Reverend Pastor? I said, no, it's a little different than what you... Well, what did they read from? I said, oh, they didn't use the Bible. She said, well, what kind of place is that? And I said, oh, they use all kinds of books. And they read from Ian Van Zandt and from Indian books. And, at that point, I didn't know. But what I did know was when I stood in the back of the hotel at Revelations, that those words that I always wanted to hear, somebody was really talking about them, because I was kind of like the black sheep of the family. I was dropping flowers and kind of out there and wearing outfits, and that my family didn't quite understand. And I said, finally, there are people that think like I do. Now, I grew up in the Catholic Church and went to Catholic school and all the doctrine and discipline. And they too, I just couldn't understand it. But when I stood back there and the words that was coming out of Michael Beckwith's mouth was like, oh my God, there's a language that I really understand. And so fast forward to 1997 and the Festival of New Beginnings, and it was the weekend that Michael Beckwith came to Psalm Place, where many of us started with Sheila. And I was working on the movie Beloved. And there were people from Los Angeles that were there, and I invited them. Oh, Michael Beckwith. They knew all about Michael Beckwith. It was still new to me. And I said, they're going to be at Psalm Place on a Friday night. And all these people that I invited, including Twana, Reverend Twana, came, but I couldn't be there. I could not be there because we were shooting late that night. However, I came on Sunday, and Sheila was one of the first people that I met, her and Pankaj. She spoke that same language. She understood. I felt like there are people that are like-minded. I didn't know like-minded, the term at the time, but there were. And I found that in Reverend Sheila. So I'm gonna have to jump a little bit. So as our time at Psalm Place had moved on, and Sheila went to California, and Pankaj and AJ went to California, but we still had that connection. And then I don't know who called on Sheila or how she got there, but I know Carletta had something to do with it, and you guys were, we were doing those, that kind of jump around from house to house to, when we would hotel to hotel and place to place, and then we got 4700 Wissahickon, and then we all traded spaces, creating the new, we were painting and building and hammering and banging, and we built that together, right? Then I'm gonna fast forward a little further, and then I was in a place where I wanted to bring forth a spirit through my vessel. And Reverend Sheila helped bring and plant that fabulous seed in beautiful cells who we got up here and talked today. I was on bed rest for 20 weeks, and somebody was talking a little while earlier, and I was remembering when she sat in that chair across from me when I was so afraid. I was thinking that there was a problem with him, and there wasn't any problem with him whatsoever. And she reminded me of that. This ain't about him, he's safe. Well, we didn't know he was a him yet, but the baby is safe. This is about you and your transition into motherhood and how you can be and teach and continue to build yourself so that you can, bring him forth and teach him. And then she said, but you won't be alone. And guess what? Each and every one of you helped to bring him forward. And I thank you. I did not do that alone, and I could only get that done by the help and the support of this community. So now here he is, and he can talk for himself and talk about his experience with Reverend Sheila, and they had their own very special thing. And then I want to bring you to the day that Reverend Sheila and I ran around this playground like two little girls, and we